you doing? We have a guest here. It's Eric Martinez. And Eric Martinez, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Rob, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I'm Eric Martinez. I am a high school baseball coach here in Orlando, Florida area. I coach for a high school, Lake Howell High School, and just here to share a little bit of my story and some of my background and hang out with Rob today.
All right. So where do you live at? Where do you reside?
We are in Maitland. Just recently relocated from Ocala area where I coached high school for about 4 or 5 years in Ocala. Then a unique opportunity came up here in Orlando for me to come back after 20 years being in Ocala, to come back here and coach my alma mater, high school. And we jumped on that opportunity.
Yeah, where did you coach in Ocala here?
Well, I coached at St. John Lutheran, was a small school, and also at Westport High School, the largest school. So from the smallest school to the largest school in Marion County.
Okay. And how'd you fare with those?
We did well. The first year at St. John, we made it to regionals. We lost in the regional semifinals. And Westport was a unique situation. Being the largest school, it's more of a fine arts school. Right. So they didn't put much attention towards their baseball program. They wanted a change, and they wanted to make that change to make it a better program. So I had the opportunity to go in there kind of, with all the support, and in the 2 years we're there, I like to think we made a little different. Rejoined a district where, they came up short first game of districts, but they had a great season, and some of the kids went off to play college baseball, and it was a success.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. That's what the whole dynamic of baseball does for you.
Absolutely.
Right. So give me what's your first experiences with baseball? Any good memories?
I like to call it, baseball was, before we even knew it, it's a family business, I guess you can say. My first memories of baseball were being on just being a spectator, being a young kid watching my older brother play and just kind of hanging out. I mean, my first memories of doing anything are probably baseball related. We grew up in Long Island, New York, so everything was baseball. I was fortunate enough to have a brother 5 years older, so we kind of followed him along. So I mean, all we can remember is being on the field, jumping the fence, climbing the fence, throwing rocks, all the good stuff that kids need to do, at the baseball field to pass time. And then from there it was swinging off a tee and really figuring out, hey, we can hit the ball pretty good, and just followed from there. So I mean, baseball, the memories we got, go on and on. So it was something of a family business, I guess.
I got something similar to that. It's pretty much in the Bronx, Castle Hill Little League, and we were either at home or we were at the field or we were at the local high school. My dad had a friend that was a janitor, and in the winter we'd go into the high school gym as he cleaned up, and we'd be in the gym. So I mean, it's just like it was baseball. And then my brother was a senior. I was at a major. My little brother was a minor. So we were, like every game, one of us was involved in it. And then my stepmom, she was a part of the women's auxiliary, which took care of the concession stand and cleaning and food and stuff. So it was just like, and then if we weren't playing, then it was helping the other one practice, and then it got to the point where it was like, you know what, go help your dad, umpire, because he's umpired 4 games. So you go umpire, so it was just like baseball, and kind of like you lived it, smelled it, ate it, slept it. You had that. Sure. You got a new glove and you had to break it in, and I'm helping my brother break it in, and we put a baseball in there. We wrapped a rubber band around it. We stuck it underneath the bed, and all I smell is the leather oil. And it was that's just what we did.
For sure. It's funny because, we try to, obviously nowadays it's a little different than when we grew up, and we try to let the kids know what it was like back then. And I want to give a shout out to my this is way back, it was BYA in Long Island, Brownwood Youth Association, where, all the parents, my dad included, that were so involved in this little league that just changed kids' lives. And you know, and through my dad coaching, I realized the impact he had on some of these kids that were less fortunate. You know, and like you said, yeah, you were. I mean, we're there. You remember, you know, going to running to get a foul ball so we can hand them in for a free Coke or a free hot dog. You know, and you know, not just going there and playing and leaving. We were there all day. You know, and
Yeah.
until we had to go home. You know, so it's something a little different, and it's definitely, you look back at those memories and you're like, you know, we not, you know, it was pretty cool back then, you
Well,
know.
my dad was about keeping us together, keeping us in one spot. So I mean, he looks back at it, and my, you know, my brother's he's a building manager in New York City. My other brother's a chef. I'm a supervisor in the post office, and you know, I went to, you know, pro school and pro umpire school. So it was just like, you know, these things that, you know, always like kept us going, kept us, you know, hey, moving on. And there's no bums amongst us. He knew all of our friends because he either coached them, or he knew their dads, there was a manager or a coach, or he knew their grandfathers, their grandmothers, and he knew everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody knew him. We knew everybody at one point or another. Yeah. So where did you get the passion for the game?
Like I said, just growing up, you know, we're fortunate, you know, just to play. My dad was a baseball player, you know, even after he got done and met my mom, and he was still involved heavily in sports, softball and soccer leagues. So growing up, you know, he was involved in sports, and he was very athletic, you know. Then it went to my older brother, having an older brother 5 years older. I say now, you know, baseball was kind of force fed to us. You know, looking back, it wasn't baseball, it was sports, and we chose baseball. You know, I mean, it's something that we loved, and obviously growing up, you know, late '70s and early '80s with the New York Yankees and the neighborhood kids, you know, was just what we loved. A turning point for us was when my older brother moved down here to Florida his junior year, because you know, we were told that he was a prospect. He could be a prospect. So parents making that big move, getting him down to Florida for him to maybe fulfill a dream was, you know, was really the eye-opening experience that, hey, you know, we're on to something special here, you know.
Well, for people who don't know, your brother is who?
My brother is Davey Martinez. He's the manager of the Washington Nationals, 2019 World Series champs. He's a former big leaguer player. He played 16 years in the big leagues, came up in '86 with the Cubs. And I believe, now we're testing my memory, I believe he retired in, I want to say 2003, 2001, around that area with the Braves, or it could have been the Rays. But he had a great career, 16 years in the big leagues, and we were blessed. And now, you know, he's fortunate enough to be a big league manager.
Oh yeah, that's something that's huge. So where did you play ball?
So, you know, our background in baseball, we're like I said, we were 12. We were young when we moved to Florida, when we made that move. So we grew up in the Orlando area, a small town, Castleberry. We played league ball and played at Lake Howell, where I'm currently coaching now. And that was kind of where we dug our feet in and built some roots. After that, we were fortunate enough to, you know, to go to a junior college in Melbourne and play 2 years junior college. And you know, once again, it was one of those things where it was a blessing. Our coach was phenomenal. The program was phenomenal, and it gave us the opportunity. And I say us because I failed to mention I have a twin brother that also followed a similar path with me. So we both went to junior college, and we split up. I went to University of Florida. I got a full scholarship to University of Florida, and he got a full scholarship to UCF. And then after that, we had an opportunity to play in the minor leagues. We played with the Houston Astros organization for 2 years, brief. And then, you know, after that, you know, we decided, you know, baseball wasn't meant to be, I guess, you know what I mean?
Right, right. I was just speaking to a young man from the University of Florida. He was at the Rotary when I was doing the 8U World Series. He's back in school now, and I wish him luck. So, you know, there you go. You got a fellow alumni, University of Florida.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, some of the opportunities we had, just, I mean, all blessing, you know, to all blessings that we had. You know, I was my twin brother and I, the first ones to receive a 4-year degree out of our whole family. It's something special. We never, obviously with Davey, he got drafted out of high school and moved up pretty quick. We really became student athletes, and that was so important to us. Baseball didn't last as long, obviously, with my twin and I, as it did for our older brother, but we learned a lot, and a lot of stuff that were parallel to life lessons that we can use later, later in life. So it's a blessing.
What's your other brother's name?
His name is Ernie Martinez. He's a real estate broker now in Ocala. He had a great career too, and he's a great example of hard work paying off. And I think we both are, and that's why we coach is because we know what it is to not be, maybe not be as talented as a first rounder, but we will outwork you. You know what I mean? In a sense, so that's kind of what we try to instill in our players and all our athletes we work with.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I always tell my kids. Like, everybody likes a champion, but everybody loves a player. And if you're one of those people that play, you can be a winner. And winning is a byproduct of working hard and wanting more. You win your medals in practice. You don't win your medals at the meet.
And for us, and for me personally, we could probably talk for hours on end of what baseball did to me, for me. Once I got done playing baseball as a young, early 20s, 23, 24-year-old, I hated baseball. I'll be frank. I hated baseball. I was mad at the game. I just wanted to be that guy that kind of just hung out, 9 to 5 or construction. I thought that was going to be the easy life, and doing what early 20-year-olds do. We'll say that. And so I was mad. And then we'll go back to, this will kind of let me go into some of the players I played with it. But, so it was maybe when I was 26, 27 years old, a little bit, I was watching TV one day, and all of a sudden, boom, one of my teammates were in the big leagues. It kind of reinforced almost, like, wow, we were pretty hand in hand, in ability. And all of a sudden, he did the right things. I made a couple of wrong choices, and here I am, Mm-hmm. So that kind of made it even a little cold, baseball a little colder for me, So, fast forward a couple of years, and all of a sudden I start realizing, hey, well, just little by little getting back into coaching, I'm thinking, hey, well, why am I thinking about what could have been, Now let's think about what could be. If I can help one athlete not make mistakes that I've made, then it's all worth it. It became pretty successful, a little family business for me,
Okay. What's that business?
I'm actually, I'm actually a school teacher. I work in a school district as an ESC teacher, which is I work with kids with slow learners.
Okay.
So how I got involved in the school is working with at-risk kids in a what we call an alternative school, kind of a transition school. Kids that weren't deemed, ready for public school, they go into this alternative school. Maybe they're coming out of juvenile programs or troubled, and they just can't. So I was working with some, pretty tough kids, and I loved it. I found my niche as a mentor, really working with these kids, and then from there, my background as far as my degree and my passion was strength and conditioning. I became kind of a strength and conditioning coach first, teaching them about adversity and, and things like that. I opened up a gym in Ocala in about 2011. And that's kind of where the coaching started for me, So it wasn't just baseball, it was about all around approach to sport and life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot what we did, a lot right now we're kicking off another program called Martinez Athletics, where it's more of a consulting athletes and students and with performance, performance training, the mental approach to baseball, to sport in general, and things like that. So we're trying to make it an all-around, all-encompassing type of program where we're just not, taking swings and meaningless swings or throwing meaningless pitches. Why do we train? Why do we take care of our bodies? Why do we, read some mentally uplifting, things and stuff like that. So it's kind of a full approach, because that's where I feel I found baseball is outside of baseball.
Okay.
So for me, baseball, I was drawn back to baseball through my life experiences.
You mentioned something about the mental aspect of it, and baseball is a mental game. I mean, and these young kids, the mental aspect, what do you see of them with the mental aspect?
We're drilled with consequence. We get to, we had a great conversation. I was talking to a couple of coaches yesterday, and they said, when a kid's 8 or 9 years old, they go out there and they play the game without fear. They're playing, they're making mistakes, they're running around bases. It's a game of fear. All of a sudden, they're 10 and 11. You start seeing them cry, coming back to the dugout crying. So what causes that? That's consequence or failure, the thought of failure. Now all of a sudden there's something attached to your performance, you see. So what we try to do is we try to break down the game, and like you said, the game of baseball is adversity. It's all adversity. How many times have you heard, if you hit 300, you're a big leaguer, right? 3 out of 10 times, that's 300 average. So those seven times you're going back to the dugout or you're failing, you need to learn how to get used to that. Everything is process driven, aligning yourself with that goal. I mean, we don't have to worry about the goal because we're going to be aligned with it. We had success last year, a brand new team coming off a COVID year. And, we went 13-12 in the regular season. We went in as a first seed in the district where we wanted to be, and things didn't work out. We lost the first game, but, we were there. We had the opportunity. That's what the kids are starting to understand. And I'll tell you, kids are resilient. They want to soak up everything. I'm super blessed to have some amazing kids around me right now and throughout my career that really want to learn and really want to understand this type of stuff.
Yeah, that's a building stone. You know what I mean? You start here, you always start at the bottom. So you lost that one. Next year, maybe you'll win 2 or 3, and you can keep going. There was an old saying, and it just hit me today. They said, "Don't be afraid of 406." It was the end of the season. He was batting 400. There was 2 games to go, and the manager wanted to bench him. He said, "No, I want to play." And he says, "No, but you're batting 400." He goes, "No, I don't care. That's a wonderful average. You look 400." Because I don't care. And he went up there and he let him play the 2 games, and he went 6 for 8 and batted 406. Don't fear 406, and it was always that, wow. You're like, wow, don't fear 406. You got to try. You got to go for it. If you're going to beat me, then you're going to beat me. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to walk you and put you on first base. Let him hit a home run then. Right. I'm going to pitch to you. I'm not putting you on first base. I'm not afraid of 406.
You're right. I think at the end of the day, just competing is the most important thing. We love baseball, but baseball is going to be done one day. There's going to be a day for everyone, every single person, to play their last baseball game, their last softball game, last volleyball game, whatever the case may be. So how are we going to take those lessons and take them into life? Competing. Hey, you go into the real estate market. Hey, I'm going to be the best realtor I could possibly be. Yeah. I'm going to lose a deal. I'm not going to get that deal, but are we going to persevere? We're going to head back to the dugout and put our head down in shame. So, what we teach, what we teach is through sport, we teach life lessons, so, that's what we try to tell the kids. Hey, we're going to fail. We're going to get a lot wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. If those who've never failed have never tried.
Exactly. Yeah.
I tell my kids all that time. I'm like, go ahead and do it, man. Go for it. If you fail, guess what? You fail. It happens. Right. It is what it is. I want to tour Europe for a year, Dad. Go for it, man. Let's figure out a plan and go for it. So you see some of the players. Who are some of the players that you had?
Well, we can go at any really angle. One of the best I've played with. Well, 2 of the guys that I remember is Bobby Abreu. Probably a familiar name. He was a teammate of mine, and we played together. And what a great, talented kid. He was a few years younger, and he just came over I think he was a 16-year-old kid. Beautiful swings I've seen, and he was the one that we spoke about earlier that we played. I think we were back to back in the same lineup. Shared the same lineup, and he was in the big leagues. And I saw him on TV, and God bless him. He had a great career. A couple other guys were. Pitcher by the name of Paul Bird, who I had the opportunity to play against at UF. He was at LSU. He had a great major league career, and then there's other guys, Lyle Mouton, who had played at LSU as well, who had a great career. We played in minor leagues together, and we actually, the funny story is after we played against each other in college and we got to know each other through the minor leagues, he ended up being on the same big league team as my brother Davey, and
Right.
became close family friends, and we still talk to this day. So he's another one. There's another one that's, having success as a coach right now is Chad Matola, who was my roommate in college, and he is the hitting coach, the big league hitting coach for the Rays. You got guys that I've met, Benito Santiago, for us Latinos that, as a 18, 19-year-old kid chatting with Benito Santiago in Wrigley Field was one of the most amazing opportunities I had. Andre Dawson, the Hawk, I'm going way back. I'm showing my age, but
you are going back.
So it was met a ton of amazing guys, and what to me, the guys were Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? They were the
Right.
cream of the crop, so.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that got me kind of into catching was one of my coaches. He said, "You're a catcher." I said, "No, I want to play third base." He goes, "No, you're a catcher. You're a catcher. You're a catcher." He said, "Put on the equipment." He wouldn't let me go on the field. I fell in love with catching. And who was one of the first catchers that I saw was Tony Pena. When I saw him stick that leg out and he squatted down and he put that little, and I was like, what? I want to do that. And I started doing my little Tony Peñas. And then it was Lance Parrish, Detroit Tigers. And then after him was Gary Carter. And then I got clips of Yogi Berra. So we go back to the big old days. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, Benito Santiago. I loved it. The guy used to throw people out from his knees.
Crazy,
Monster.
yeah.
You try to steal second base, he'd stand there and stare at you. Go ahead, go for it. Try it. Let's go for it. And now Benji Molina. I mean, he'll dare you. He go ahead. Go for it. Let's see what happens. Wow, that's amazing. Well, that also leads into my next question is what do you think of the Latino presence?
To me, it's almost like apple pie, baseball and apple pie. It belongs there, and it's great for baseball. This is opportunity. You got guys, especially now, seeing some of the guys that we have on the Nationals, of player that probably a lot of people aren't familiar with is Yadiel Hernandez. I think he's probably 35, 36 years old. Had a great career in Cuba. Now he's over here and he's doing really good things. He's an amazing, player. Guys like that. It's just opportunity, and it's good to see them taking advantage of the opportunities they have. Obviously, I'm biased, but baseball and apple pie, hot dogs and apple pie, man.
The thing for me, and I love the Latino presence on the field. And now your brother being the Latino presence in the managing realm. But I went to winter meetings in 2015, and the Latino presence in the front office is very small or minute, to say the least. They're talking about maybe 2%, maybe 3% at best at that time. So we were talking about 6-7 years ago. I actually bumped into a vice president of the Pirates, and we got to talking at the bar, and we were having a drink. And he turned around and he says, "What are you doing tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning?" And I was like, "I don't know." He goes, "You want to do a meet and greet tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock?" He goes, "Meet me here." He goes, "And we're gonna have a meet and greet." Okay. And that morning I was there at 7 o'clock, and he met him downtown, down in the beginning of the vestibule there of the hotel. And he took me and several other guys, and he brought us to this room that he had rented. I think there had to be about 50, 60, either Latino or African-Americans in that room. And he says, "I want you guys to talk to each other. I want you guys to mesh. I want you to exchange business cards and numbers." He goes, "Because the lack of African-Americans and Hispanics in the front office is enormous." And he's like, and you guys are going to have to do this. He goes, I'm probably not going to live to see it. He goes, but I want to see it one day, hopefully one day. And I was just like, I was amazed. I was like, wow. He goes, because if you think there's money made on that field, he goes, the money that's being made in the front office, it's amazing. And you goes, and you guys can pull other Latinos, you can pull other African Americans into your, and I was like, wow, I never dawned on me, the front office, and sometimes it escapes us that, hey, hey, we got, 8 or 9 players on the field, but we forget the 40 front office people, and it's just like, wow, yeah, that's a pretty decent job too.
That's a great point, and I think, I think what happens, and like, for example, I was in DC about a month and a half ago, and having breakfast with my brother, and he said he wouldn't mind one day being a general manager.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when he said that, I was like, wow, really, but that was the first step, the confidence to say that. You're hearing it first. So if he gets a general manager job, we got it on video. And I think it starts with that confidence. And I think, Latinos and African Americans, I think we need to start knocking on those doors, and say, hey, I can do this job, what I mean? And I think that, that we need to see more of that, and hopefully, we do, because I think you're right. I think 100% that general managers, front office people, that can really make a difference.
I think it would make a big difference, and just that way these kids can see not only the ball player, but they can also see the GM. They can also see the vice president. They can also see, hopefully one day we'll get an owner, and that would be awesome also. So I mean, there's more to just baseball than just hitting the ball, catching the ball, feeling the ball, getting on that field. There's more behind it, and if we can get these kids more influence to say, hey, listen, I can do that too. I can, run a whole organization. I can have, 500 people working for me. I think that would be something that would make a kid's difference. And you know what? Also in the announcing booth. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll put it on the SAP. They announce it like a soccer game. The guy, he goes, go here, the shortstop.
I mean, it's great. Those are great opportunities, and the funny story is, like, whenever I have a kid that's injured and maybe not playing, I'll have him announce our game, the lineups. Hey, you never know. You never know when you have that next, Harry Carey, Joe Buck, or whoever the case may be. So I mean, I teach everything, even with groundskeeping, just to get them involved,
Yeah, absolutely. You still play ball today, or?
Matter of fact, I took some BP today. So I get in there with the boys. I don't play. I like to do some Olympic lifting. Being a gym owner, that's how I stay active.
All right. What do you lift? What's the biggest? How much heaviest you lift?
I was competing in CrossFit. I opened up a CrossFit gym, so I was competing just in local regional events back in 2015, 2016, over 40 age group, and doing well. So my power clean was about 265. Power clean and jerk was at 265. I had some injuries that I really don't lift heavy no more, but I enjoy it. I mean, that's my therapy. I also do love hitting, swinging the bat. I tell my kids jokingly, hey, some kids, some people just come out of the womb natural hitters, and that was me. I tell them, at my age, hey, I'm coming back. I'm making a comeback, which is totally unrealistic, but kids, but so I took a little BP today. Hip feels okay. It might be a little sore tomorrow, but as far as organized sports, I don't know. I had my time,
Yeah, my dad used to get upset with me because I'm a curveball hitter. I love a curveball, and I couldn't hit a fastball. If your fastball had a little zip on it, I had a hard time catching up to it.
That was my downfall. I couldn't hit a curveball.
Yeah, my father was like, you're reverse. Everybody can hit a fastball and can't hit a curveball. You're the only one that can't hit a fastball, can hit a curveball. He said, I don't understand you. You're killing me. I got a curveball question for you. You ready? What's your favorite baseball rule?
My favorite baseball. I think it would be easier. what my worst rule is right now.
Okay, what's that?
It's got to be right now. It's got to be the extra inning man on second base. Oh,
The
come on.
international tiebreaker?
Oh man, I tell you, it's crazy. You know, I mean, it's to me, it's like soccer. You know, going playing those guys playing 2 hours of soccer, and then all of a sudden you're going to do penalty kicks. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, let the game be organic. You
Right.
know, but I mean, the favorite rule. You know, I was a hitter. I do like the DH. If I was going to be in the big leagues, I was probably going to play outfield until I was about middle aged and then become a DH. You know, reverse that. What's your favorite rule?
My favorite is the infield fly. I love the
Oh,
infield fly. The
yeah.
infield fly is like, it's for me, it's, if you look at it, it's the epitome of life. Okay.
Right.
You're the batter and you popped up. Everybody knows that you screwed up because you did the pop up, right? You popped it up.
Right.
So now you're a screw up. Okay. We know that. You're an idiot. It's done.
Right.
But because you're an idiot, we're not going to let the infielder take advantage of you being an idiot. So he has to catch that ball. And if he doesn't, he drops. He can't drop the ball and make a double play because he did something dumb, you know? But then on top of that, the runners can run at their own peril. So I'm like,
Right.
this is great. So he could be a dum-dum. The other ones can't take advantage of him being a dum-dum, but somebody else could possibly take advantage of him being a dum-dum.
Right.
And it's one of those deals. I like the infield.
You know, you know, a situation, and coming from your officiating background, a situation not too long ago, I think over summer, one of my showcase teams, we had an infield fly, but the umpire didn't call it or didn't signal it. You know, so I mean, probably a fool of me to assume, you know, that my players knew not to go
Right.
on an infield fly. So as soon as they saw that ball drop, they ran. You know,
Oh
I
man.
was out. The guy going to third, you know, was, you know, and obviously I was assuming, hey, infield fly, you should know not to go. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But then we went into that argument. Or do they call? Do they have to call? You know what I mean? Call it. So it was a tricky situation. You know?
My trickiest situation with an infield fly was that the batter popped straight up in between the catcher and the pitcher. They both looked at each other and the ball fell.
Yeah.
So there was no catch, but I screamed infield fly if fair, because I wasn't sure where it was going to be. So it has to be a fair ball. Okay.
Right.
So it went up, the catcher and the pitcher stared at each other, the ball fell. Catcher picks up the ball and touches home plate. The runner from third was coming. He touches home plate. I scream safe. Well, the catcher's, no way. He's like, no, I touch home plate. I said, I understand that. There's not a force. No. The ball dropped. I said, I called infield fly. Well, here comes the manager. And I'm going, oh boy, here we go. This is going to be a crazy ejection. And he turns around and he grabs the catcher and he goes, what's wrong with you? The batter is out. There's no force. Pick up your mask and get behind home plate. Enough's enough. And I was just like, and he goes, Blue. He goes, you good? Yeah, I guess. He goes, let's go, guys. Let's play ball. Stop it. Enough's enough. And I was just like, okay. And I'm like standing there going, all right. So, all right, nobody gets ejected. Okay. All right. I'm good now. I'm good. I was like, all right, good. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever seen the manager like really like, and he was on it. He was upset with his team because they had been making a string of mental errors.
Right.
And that really, that's what really upset him. At one point, he says, Blue, I'm going to need a couple extra minutes in the dugout with my guys, because he goes, I can't keep doing this. He goes, this is not we practice. And I said, yeah, go ahead, sure. And they did. They, a couple extra minutes in the dugout, and he's telling them, hey, guys, listen, dust it off. Let's go. He goes, we're here. We got 3-4 more innings to go. We got to get, our stuff together. We got to get our minds together. We're here to play ball. It's what's done is done. And I was just like, wow. I was like, yeah, that was great. And I mean, at the end of it, he took him into center field and I heard him in the parking lot, and I was like, wow, he's really ripping into him. I don't know what he said. I wasn't interested in what he said. My game was over, and I left.
Right.
Right. Anyway, I know you said something about Manny Ramirez. Yeah, had
Yeah. So
seen Man.
the cool little story there is it's one of my claim to fames. My first season was short season, and a short season, and we played again. So we played in a small league up in New York, and it was a 60 game short season, single A. And he was, I think he came up with the Indians, I believe. I was with the Astros, but we played, so we were in the same division. So we played a lot of with each other and stuff. And long story short, he won the home run title that year. I think he had like 13 or 12. I can't remember the numbers, so please forgive me if it's wrong. But and I was second, I think, in that league that year with 11 or 12 home runs, something like that. So I wasn't too far behind him, for the home run title. Had a really good short season that year, and I think I was up there with the Ribbies too. So this kid Manny Ramirez was pretty good, and we know what happened after that. Yeah, so I mean, it was good, and we got to know each other and a little bit, and then obviously he got to know through his big league career. He became friends with my brother, and he was always a really cool guy. So I mean,
I was lucky enough to see him, I think his junior or senior year at Lehman High School in the Bronx. He was playing for George Washington High School. He hit a shot. I think it's still coming down. It's I've never heard a crisper crack than that shot. And the ball just kept going up. I don't know if anybody knows about Lehman High School. The field that they play on is actually a football field, and left field is a shot, 420 or something like that. He hit it. Not only did he hit it out of the field, but he hit it across the street, which is about 4 lanes of traffic, and there's a car wash across the street. He hit the roof of the car wash across the street, over 4 lanes. Holy smoke.
you see that guy, and you just see him take one swing, and you knew, hey, there was something special. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Bobby Abreu. Those guys, it's just there was something special. You know what I mean? And I don't think you teach that.
Sometimes you can be
Right.
smart enough and you can beat that skilled player, but I'd say about 60-40, that skilled player is going to find a way to beat you.
100%. I mean, the quick story with the Nationals that year is that we're blessed. We're super positive people. So that year, 2019, you remember, they were 19 and 31. That's the big thing is that May 1st or in May, somewhere in May, they were 19 and 31. I believe 11 games out. We had a trip planned to go to DC. I'm like, maybe we should hold off. Maybe, and I'm being frank and honest, is maybe he's not going to have his job long, much
Right.
longer. I mean, they're Boo Birds, Fire Davy crowd, all this stuff, 19 and 31 down, bottom of the cellar. And I would call him and text him and oh man, we're fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be good. We're going to be good. We got this. I'm like, bro, you're in last place, and it was so inspiring because he was so positive and it was genuine. Some people will say, hey, we're going to be fine, but there's almost some panic in their voice or something.
Right.
He was fine. And then they went on a little run, and the rest is history. I mean, you look back at that year, how remarkable was that to come from where they came from
Right.
and win, I mean, he told his team go 1-0. So that was every day, just go 1-0. That's all they cared about. They didn't look down the road. They didn't, and that's what we talked about, the process, hey, we're going to go 1-0, and we're going to stay in the fight. And that's what they did. I mean, that's a testament to, his positivity and being what we call process driven instead of results driven.
I was watching a game, and the team had lost the championship, and the coach had taken them to the outfield, taking his team to the outfield, and he told them this was here at the Cal Ripken World Series here in Ocala, and he turned around and he told them, he said, guys, listen, we learned something from this today. 5 runs and we lost by 2. There's something here that I can't teach you in practice, which is how to play when you're ahead and how to play when you're from behind. That phrase that I can't teach you that in practice. Nobody can teach you that in practice. You have to learn that on your own. Yeah, man, the positivity has to be there. And well, congratulations to you, man. I hope you and your team do something big this year. I know there was some tryouts yesterday that you had.
We had for a feeder team. So basically what a feeder team is, if no one's familiar, it's our middle school age kids in the area that are coming to high school. They put together a team for that area, which is cool, I think. You know what I mean? So every high school here has what they call a prep team, or some people call it feeder teams that feed into your high school. So it's a good way for us as high school coaches to see some of your younger kids that may be coming to your school and kind of really, so they get used to the culture and what expectations are. So it's really neat. So we had a good turnout. So, I mean, that's a program that we kind of volunteer our time to help promote. Hopefully it'll pay dividends,
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like it's a good idea. One day you got to invite me down there and I'll try to get down there. I know it's a little bit of a drive for me, but
it's right. I think it's right around the corner, man. So anytime, anytime, hopefully we can get Davey out here too, and maybe line it up where you can chat with him a little bit.
Absolutely. That would be.
We got one of the assistant coaches is a childhood friend, and he was speaking of catchers. My assistant coach is, I don't know, Eddie Taubensee, who played in the big leagues for 9 years. He was catcher for the Reds, Cleveland, and the Astros. When I took this job over, I had reached out to him to come, and you talk about a first-class guy. He's been my assistant coach since I came here, and he's a great guy. So he's someone that you may want to catch up with too. He's still a big fan of the sport, and he had a great career, 9, 10 years, I think, maybe even 11 years if I'm in the big leagues, and he caught some of the greatest pitchers around, you know what I mean? So it's pretty neat.
Absolutely. I would love that.
Awesome, buddy.
All right, Eric. Well, listen, keep in touch, man. I'm going to keep in touch with you. I appreciate you being on the show. Good luck to you and your team down there in, where are you? I'm trying to think of where you're at. Winter Park, right?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Winter Park. You're in Winter Park. Right. Good luck to you and your team down in Winter Park. As like I always tell everybody, keep on swinging, because every strike will bring you closer to the next home run.
I appreciate it, my man.
Thank you.
You too, buddy. We'll see you.
If you like the show, please do me a favor. Subscribe. Right. You see it? It's right there. Subscribe, share, like, and don't forget, put that bell on. It'll ding you when I put something else on, all right?